Welcome to the Doing Football long form show. If you're tuning in on YouTube, where we're debuting now, or if it's Apple, Spotify, you can find us anywhere. If you're looking on YouTube, link will be in the description if you do want it for your, your ride out to work each and every morning. What we're going to do today is cover a variety of different topics, recapping Week 8, getting you ready for Week 9. We'll cover some waiver wire, some buy low, sell high. I've got some different topics you might want to be buying or selling on. We're basically kind of like a fantasy football fact or fiction. First, I want to start, though, fellas, with some stat lines. My stat line of the week. Stat lines of the week, okay? 4 running backs. Guess the running backs. 28 rushing attempts, 68 yards.
Derrick Henry.
2.4 yards per carry. Derrick Henry. Correct.
Did you cheat, Jared?
No, this is so obvious.
26 rushing attempts for 91 yards. To the tune of 3.5 yards per carry. Who's your running back?
Khalil Herbert.
Nope.
It's a fucking shitty person. There's one of these that
26
I know.
carries. That's a lot of carries.
Yeah, that's why I thought Khalil Herbert.
I can't even think of one.
Okay, well, we can't sit here and kill every time. People are going to tune out. That is Najee Harris.
Okay.
That makes
14
sense.
carries, 33 yards, 2.4 yards per carry.
Is this Jarrett Patterson?
Guess the running back. No, it's not
Antonio
Jared Patterson.
Gibson.
No, it is not Antonio Gibson. Sandy, hurry up. Give me your guess.
I have no idea. Mixon, throw Mixon out there.
Mixon, it's Joe
Yeah,
Mixon.
is it there? I knew it was going to go low yards per carry.
Last, but
He had some
certainly
receptions,
not
though.
least, the player you need to be buying in your fantasy leagues right now.
I just know it based
buy
off you
high.
saying that.
I don't care who ran for 18 attempts, 137 yards.
Elijah
Is that
Mitchell.
San
6
Francisco
yards per
running
carry.
back that you've never shut up
You
about?
need Elijah Mitchell. He's going to win you your fantasy leagues the rest of the season. Look, Kyle Shanahan has his number 1 running back. He doesn't have anyone else he wants to use in the offense. And Elijah Mitchell looks fantastic.
He does.
When you average
7.6
7.6 yards per carry and you don't have 20 rushing attempts, something's gone wrong.
I think he had 5
Needs
carries
25.
over 10 yards.
Yeah, needs 25.
It's a damn good stat line. What did he have last week, too? 100 what? He
Had over 100 yards,
Yeah.
yep.
2 weeks in a row.
Couple
T-Mac,
weeks in a
that's
row.
your guy.
I'm telling you. That 49ers schedule to finish the season is incredible. Kyle Shanahan, when he has that number 1 running back that he's not splitting time with, those guys have finished top 5 at the position in fantasy. We saw it with Freeman, whom I'm forgetting. There was somebody else earlier in his career that was not a very good player in Washington.
Carlos Hyde? No, he was.
No,
he was
Carlos
not.
Hyde wasn't it. It was someone like I can't remember. Anyways, but that was my stat line of the week, really, that I took away. There was a lot of inefficient running backs. I really thought Mitchell was like the only one in terms of success on the ground. Like Jonathan Taylor was probably the other.
Yeah.
But the running backs didn't really have big weeks in terms of efficiency. It's crazy I think I'll take that to kind of discuss those 3 guys. Like Harris, Mixon. We'll talk about Henry, obviously the injury news this
Probably
week.
done for the year.
But what is the difference between Joe Mixon and Najee Harris? Purely from if you look at the stat lines and numbers, nobody would think they're that much different in terms of play.
Najee Harris just gets more involved in the passing game.
Yeah.
That's the main difference, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe had 4 for 58 and a touchdown in the air yesterday.
Yeah, that's true.
And he had it against the Lions the
Yeah.
week before. He had another receiving touchdown, too. So.
Yeah, he's been. It
None of
doesn't
us
really
want to
matter.
tout the 2.4 yards per carry, especially not Drew now after all year.
Inefficient, though.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
But it's volume, though.
Okay, I want to do some 5 different topics here I've got for like a buy or sell. So with the Calvin Ridley news, he wants to step away for his mental health. Are you buying or selling that Calvin Ridley misses the rest of the season?
Buying. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't
You
think
he
he comes
misses
back.
the rest of the season?
I don't think so. I have him in our redraft league. I'm probably going to hold on to him.
Now you have
Yeah. No, we have to
emotional
hold on to him.
attachment.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Correct. I do have emotional attachment. But the question was, do I think he misses the whole season? I do not believe so. I think at least 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I'd be surprised.
Oh,
if he
you
misses the whole
don't think
season.
he is?
I do not
I thought
think so.
buying means you do think
No,
he's
his
gonna
question
miss.
was, do you buy that he's missed the whole season? I say no. I don't.
Oh, you're
think he
selling
is.
then?
Yeah, you're selling.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. That's on me.
You think he's gonna miss the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah.
Just
You have to. I said this to Jared yesterday when we were watching the games, but he's not young. Like this is a guy that can't afford to miss a
26
lot
or
of
something?
football. I'm pretty sure he's 26.
Why can't
How many
he
years did he
afford to
play?
miss a lot of football?
Because then he's going to miss out on making money and playing more. Like if
he's gonna be fine. I don't think.
I mean, it doesn't help his cause. More of
it
his
depends
point
on how
is,
long
I
he's
mean, if you're taking time
he was
off like
being
this, you're not
touted as
worried
like
about.
the guy this year. Remember preseason? This whole offseason was Calvin Ridley. Like the preseason videos of him, he was getting so much hype, and then
it's been a bad
obviously-
year. It's been a tough year for him for sure. I mean, but he's going to be 27 in December.
Yeah.
If he misses all of this year and then it's up in the air whether he's back next year.
what if he just straight up retires? He could just be like, actually, I don't want to play
Andrew
at all.
Luck.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
That would be crazy. Like that would be
That would
crazy.
be nuts, yeah.
I do think that he misses some time, but I do think he comes back. I'm trying. I said to Jared, there was somebody, I think it was a different sport, that said that they were going to step away for like mental health or health reasons, and then they ended up coming back within a few weeks. Was that in the NFL maybe earlier this year?
No, we would have talked about that.
Yeah, we would have talked about
It was maybe a different
it
sport.
baseball?
Somebody let me know in the comments because there was someone who did. It was baseball. It was White Sox in the minors.
Oh, Yerman Mercedes.
Mercedes,
That was
yes.
different, though. That was
Yes.
different. That was way different.
It was more of a hatred for the
That's quite a
organization.
narrative, though.
Yeah.
Really.
That's what I was thinking of. I'm glad I figured that out, though. Okay, next one here. Are you buying or selling Michael Pittman to finish as a wide receiver 1 this season? He is the wide receiver 11 in PPR right now.
Like I'm gonna sell
I'm
because,
s- I mean-
but no, actually,
You should have
fuck
like
it,
top
I'm gonna
five.
buy it.
I'm
I'm
You're
buying it. Yeah, he was my.
You took
Oh,
took
my-
some convincing there. to
No,
change
it was
your
my
mind.
it was my sleeper of the year. Like the guy I thought was going to do really well. I believe in him. The problem was touchdowns. He wasn't scoring touchdowns last year, and he single-handedly.
Wentz only targets him.
He's a
Yeah.
prototypical the body in terms of who he is.
What he can
would
do.
be a touchdown guy.
Yeah.
15 targets yesterday.
He-
15.
And he demands them because he's so good.
Yes.
It's not like a
2
guy.
touchdowns in the first quarter yesterday.
Ty's probably got a concussion. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
not that
I'm
he's a big
I'm
worry
buying it too.
anyways. You're buying
You're
it?
buying it.
Yeah,
I'm
he
selling
gets
it.
targeted way too often by Wentz. It's going to keep up. Like, there's no reason for it not to keep up, especially with Joe
Yeah.
Hilton getting hurt. Paris Campbell's out for the year.
The
The
problem
wide
was
receiver 1, though?
No, not the
No.
a wide receiver.
wide
Oh,
receiver one, top
I'm-
12.
I'm buying that. I'm buying that for sure.
geez.
If it was the wide receiver 1, I would
Yeah.
for sure be out. There's no
Yeah.
chance he's
Sorry, I
catching Cooper Kupp.
misunderstood the
I
question
think he finishes outside the top 12, but I mean the target volume's there. I thought he was a little bit. I thought it kind of hurt Wentz. I know the end of that game for Wentz was just ridiculously stupid. I was so pissed off. I had bet the Colts minus the points. I do think the hyper targeting of him kind of hurt him late in the game. Like he was looking to him so often, and he wasn't really finding him or wasn't efficient with it. So, but I do think Pittman is going to demand the targets of the offense.
Yeah.
They did need to run the ball a little bit more. That's all I kind of took from that game. But I'll say he doesn't finish as a wide receiver 1, just outside of it.
I'm curious more of like, what's his dynasty value now? Is he a wide receiver 1 in dynasty?
No.
I remember you told me in the offseason you didn't really believe in his skill set.
Yeah.
So
I've
does
changed my
that
mind.
worry you?
No, I've changed my mind.
Change your mind
Yeah.
completely. Okay.
That's that's a
I'm
stand-up
fully in on
guy.
him.
I love
you,
that,
You
Jared.
got to be willing to pivot, change
No,
your mind on things.
Yeah.
I know, but you
I've
can't-
fully changed my mind on Michael Pittman.
Right, but I was more saying changing your mind on whether or not a player's skilled or not is like. Do you think because if
We've seen. I think we've seen improvements from him this season. Like, he wasn't as skilled last season as he was this season.
I think it's a very
He was so good at the end of
perplexing.
last year.
Yeah,
though.
he had a couple good
in
games at the
that
end of the
Bills
year.
playoff game too. He was very good. So
Yeah.
I think
He had a game against the Packers last year, too. He played well.
I think it's an interesting case, like of where he would be dynasty wise, but I do think that they haven't really spent much draft capital at the wide receiver position, like the Colts themselves. Like Hilton's out, they're doing this Mo Alley Cox, Jack Doyle thing at tight end. You
Yeah.
know, it's Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal. I do think eventually they'll feel like they need to spend some draft capital at wide receiver. So I don't think he has like incredible value as in dynasty, but I can see some upside.
you think
certainly.
the Colts try and get a quarterback?
So I kept saying yesterday that
Wentz is the guy.
Wentz has the least amount of turnover-worthy plays to go along with his 0 interceptions. So he's playing more responsible football. But
I think he
again,
jinxed it.
Yeah, then he just went on to.
That was just abysmal, that end of the game.
That one
interception.
pick, that was a pick 6.
Well, he literally caught it
Mine
in
and
the end
T-Mac's
zone.
reactions were the complete
Oh,
opposite.
my God. You had Titans.
I mean,
yeah,
we're gonna
Colts.
need the O line to be a little more athletic next time too.
Oh,
just bat
please.
that
That
down.
is just so bad.
I
Just
mean-
don't do anything else. Other that was probably the worst thing he could have done, easily.
Okay, next one here. Off the back of a pretty poor offensive performance from the Chargers, but it didn't matter for Austin Eckler. Next season, are you buying or selling Austin Eckler as a top 3 pick?
Yes, 100% buying.
Selling.
You don't think he's a top 3 running back
Signing.
next year in redraft?
He said top 3 pick. Just
Top 3 pick in
Yeah.
redraft, yeah.
Yeah, I'm buying.
I mean, I'm probably going to take him ahead of McCaffrey. That might be a crazy thing to say. Like, McCaffrey, the last few years has had injuries. Like, I'm buying it. I'm buying. He's a top 3 pick next season for redraft, 100%.
I think that's the biggest thing.
No, that's the difference. It's are you taking him top 3, right? Not is he a top 3 pick?
No, I'm saying is he a top 3?
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to say are you. Yeah, I'm going to say is
Sorry,
he.
I'm still buying it. I'm buying it.
I am for sure as well. I mean, for me, he was like a top 5 pick this year, and he's done even better than I thought. So
I would say like in competition with him at like around, let's say in the top 5. This is going to come out. Maybe Henry's full story is there. I do think it's a foot injury that I think he can return from.
It's like Kamara.
So I think Henry would still be up there. Kamara's been efficiency-wise hasn't been great, but their offense is pretty stale this season.
yeah,
I don't
I'd
blame
take
that
Eckler
on
over
him.
Kamara.
Yeah.
Next year then.
And then there's the issue. The McCaffrey thing will be the most debated topic,
Yeah.
no matter how McCaffrey
You just can't
finishes
stay on the
this year.
field. Like that's and that's probably unpopular. People are still going to take a shot at him top 3 next year.
I
but
Yeah,
definitely
just because
will.
when he's on the field.
He's when he's on the field. But
So here's the other thing, though, is that let's talk about the Julio Jones thing. Was we're still taking him.
Yeah.
This isn't an injury-prone player, but it's not working out for Julio, and I don't think it will the rest.
That
of
is
the
a
way.
different situation though, because he's on a new team now.
Well, I mean, the situation is he's not really on the field much because of injury.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But yeah, I get the changing teams, but that's the situation with McCaffrey is like we know when he's on the field, he's the number 1 player. Like nobody can stack up to him. But the question is, does he stay on the field? So I think there's him, there's Cook. So it'll be interesting how next year pans out. But I do buy this. I think Eckler, in terms of his passing upside, he's finally finding the end zone.
Yeah.
He did again in a really bad offensive day for the Chargers too. So I think Eckler can be a top 3 pick or consensus-wise.
The other thing with Eckler is he loves putting on for fantasy managers. That guy, he posted it. He tweeted out his him
Fantasy
starting
football
himself. He's a fantasy football guy. That
Love
means
that.
you should take that. That's an edge over other players. Like he wants to perform for your fantasy team. So I'm buying it.
I asked this to Jared when we were watching football yesterday as well. Deebo Samuel, are you buying that Deebo Samuel will be a top 2 round pick in fantasy football drafts in 2022?
A lot of it depends on how he finishes the year, but
He's on pace to set
I'm thinking no.
a receiving record for the San Francisco 49ers. A record that is held by Jerry Rice.
Jeez,
Every game over double-digit targets, pretty much every game.
it's insane.
The quarterback situation still it doesn't seem to matter right now. There's still like the turnover.
after
It doesn't
the catch
matter.
monster.
Yeah, he was crazy yesterday as well. I'm gonna buy this. I don't care Trey Lance. I don't care Garoppolo. I'm gonna buy this. I have him on one of my teams. You stick him in there. He's gonna put you. I mean, he's doing 20+ points almost every week, except for that week against the Packers.
It's insane how his role is just completely transformed this year. Like he was always that line of scrimmage guy, catches a screen pass or something.
Yeah.
Now
He's so physical.
He's
That-
all over the field.
But he's
Yeah.
running, but he's after the catch. He's physical.
Yeah.
Like Brandon Ayuk dropped the touchdown yesterday again. Like there's just not, he's not taking up.
Ayuk didn't drop a touchdown.
It was a slant. I mean, he could have caught it.
The DB had his
Yeah,
hand
that was
in
a
there.
great defensive play.
It was an awesome
Okay,
defensive
well,
play. He didn't drop it.
There was
All right,
he caught
correction.
a 2-point convert.
Yes,
right?
correct.
That was the one I was thinking of. I do think he does. I think he ends up being drafted here at the back of the 2nd round, similar to like Calvin Ridley was this year. I could see, in terms of his fantasy performance so far, I don't see it slowing. I don't know how it slows down. It's not like Ayuk's going to have some complete change. We saw even with Kittle involved in the offense, it didn't impact him.
That's another. Yeah,
Debo has been a
Well,
bit
then
of an
they-
injury-prone guy too, historically,
Yes.
right? So that's probably the.
Well, then they go and
The
draft.
whole
they're
49ers team usually was.
Yeah.
They're gonna draft like Chris Olave too to kind of like fuck everything up with
Yeah.
how we feel about Debo, and then he's just gonna do the same thing next year.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
by far the biggest steal from draft season. There's no one else in the same stratosphere.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. This is non-fantasy football related, but the Tennessee Titans currently sit atop the AFC West.
You mean AFC South?
No, or
AFC
sorry, not
South,
West.
yes.
The AFC. I meant.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
the AFC
in general.
I don't know why I said West.
The AFC's so
You know
tight.
the West.
Yes, I know the West. I hate. God damn it. Are you buying or selling the Titans to be AFC regular season champions?
No.
Well, you have to sell that.
Definitely sell, especially with Derrick Henry out. I do love
selling it.
the Titans, but like not being the number 1 seed.
So here's what you need to consider. They have 3 games remaining two against the Texans, 1 against the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a terrible division. They
lose
have
one of those
6
games.
wins. I mean, maybe they do. I don't think they will, but maybe they do. It is divisional games. Anything can happen. To me, I see they have
They
6
probably play
wins.
one of them on a Thursday night or some bullshit like that.
Good
That's
chance.
where they lose.
Good
yeah.
chance. They have 6 wins. I see those 2 games, Texans, 1 Jaguars. I see 3 more wins. I already see 9 wins on the table for them.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at what other games they have, but
I think they had one of the easiest strength of schedules the rest of the season from what I saw.
yeah.
I think they
I'm
have
almost-
the easiest, actually.
I don't like the Titans. I think Tannehill has taken a big step back this year.
Big time, yeah.
But I am going to buy this purely because of the schedule for them.
They're definitely going over 9.5 wins though.
Yeah.
Did you take which one you took? You took
We
that?
had a bet.
Yeah,
I,
the under?
I had them going over. He had them
Yeah,
going
9.5.
under.
Interesting. That's
There were so many games this
Yeah.
year that they were back. Like
They came,
could have
yeah.
swung either way.
Well,
the
they
game
won.
this week. What was that other game that we were? Oh, the Seahawks.
The
game.
Seahawks game.
Brutal.
Well, they beat
Bills
the Chiefs
game.
and the Bills. Those are 2
Bills
huge
game.
wins. You would have
The Bill-
never, on
the
paper,
Bills
you would
and
have never
Seahawks-
thought that was a win, though. Like when you were betting under 9.5, you looked at those preseason,
ones?
like those aren't
Oh,
wins.
yeah,
The Bills,
Bills.
and the Chiefs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Chiefs they earned,
Yeah.
but the Bills one was like the Bills
He
kind of
slipped.
fucked up that
Yeah.
that win. The Seahawks blew a ridiculous lead. How many points were they up by in that game?
was
At
a
least
lot.
16.
It was
I
the
don't
game where
remember.
Drew was cheering for both teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
God, that was
crazy.
horrible.
That was
And then
week
this
We can't even
one,
let that.
wasn't
I'll
it?
never let that go. Yeah,
This week
week
the
one.
Colts,
Or
the
week
Colts
2.
are up 14-0 to start this game. I thought they were going to kill this. The
It looked
Titans.
horrible. It looked like a bloodbath in the first
That's the
half.
worst part is that I mentioned the Derrick Henry numbers and yards per carry, and the Titans still managed to win this game too.
You love to see AJ Brown. I know you do, especially.
Yes.
Big,
He was a big buy
big-
low for me a couple weeks ago.
2 straight very solid weeks. 30. I think he had 30 PPR points this week.
Something like that.
Something like that in that range. Pretty damn
10
good week.
receptions for like 150 yards.
I'm selling that they're going to finish first in the AFC. I think the Bills are a better team overall.
Yeah.
Also the Ravens too. I don't know their schedules. I haven't looked at anything, but I do like the Bills and the Ravens more than I like the Tennessee Titans. That said, I don't think it's impossible. I'm going to sell that as number 1. Regular
They
season
feel
AFC
like
champs.
a 2 or 3 seed at this point.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, I just think that the Ravens have way too tough of a schedule with their division.
I haven't looked, but-
to be saying that they would. The Bills are definitely the favorite, and yeah.
It's funny because the AFC West is open and the AFC North is now open again with the Bengals losing in the North, and then the Steelers now looking like the Steelers a little bit here. So
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well,
I thought they looked. I thought that was one of the worst games of the week.
looking better than they looked. It was a shit game. What was it?
I mean, they
15 to
scored
10.
15
Yeah,
points.
it was a horrible.
They let
the
Chris-
defense won the game.
They let Chris Boswell get crushed on.
Oh my God! Did
The
you, that was
Steelers.
so that was
funny.
insane. Yeah.
Here's my thing: like fake
made
field
no
goals are
sense.
stupid to begin with because you don't have a lot. Like with punts, at least in that situation, like there's a ton of field to work
Yeah.
with because we're looking to return a ball.
And,
We're not
and you
doing
also
it on
have
a
guys
field
going
goal.
back to block. Like you don't.
Yeah.
Not everyone's rushing.
Why are we faking? Because that was
Well,
from
the other-
where? Where was
it
that
a-
from?
No, the
It's from
scenario
like
it was
the
in
20
their,
or 25
The
yard
funny
line.
thing is, it was 3rd and 17, and they ran a run play. So they didn't if they were going to go for a 4th down, you would have think they would have tried to get at least closer, like something. They ran like a 3-yard run on 3rd and 17.
Right,
And
yeah.
it was like 3rd and 10 plus or
was
4th and
probably
10
the plan
plus
all along
Yeah,
to
I
get
don't
this
know what
fake field goal off.
That whole fake field goal, like maybe they didn't. I didn't expect it. Like it was coming. Probably that was what Mike Tomlin was thinking there, but it just made no sense. Like 4th and 10 plus, you're going to run a fake field goal.
Yeah,
So,
there was also the Big Ben little QB draw.
That was fucking awesome.
That was so fun.
I was
Talk about
loving
a
that.
slow developing play, though. It was rumble, big man rumble, and he just kind of fell into the end zone.
I know,
And then they called
worst
it
thing
back.
ever
It
to be
was so
called back.
sad. Yeah.
Unfair.
But that was the Georgia Tech punter, right? The former Georgia Tech punter.
Yeah, the big dog. Holy.
And he was not happy that he had to kick.
No, I don't get how they don't think. The Chargers had this happen when Badgley was hurt last year. They let their punter Ty Long. He was like kicking field goals
Yeah.
for them. I get it. Yeah, this guy's never kicked field goals before, college included. His job is to kick. He's a great kicker of footballs. You're telling me he couldn't kick? He couldn't attempt an extra point? What?
I mean, that's like asking a long drive champion to be the best putter in the world, right? Like it's just two different
Whoa!
Those are two different skill sets.
No,
Punting?
At the end of the day, they're still kicking a
The
ball.
guy,
person
there
punts the
was
ball
no, there
out of
was
the
a-
air, and the
no,
other one-
That guy had in his high school, college, and
I know,
pro career,
I know.
Didn't have a.
I
Did you already
know.
mention that?
Yeah.
I think it's more like asking
he
a
didn't mention
NASCAR
that.
driver to.
No, he's never
I
had a
said-
field
I
goal
said
attempt.
Never attempted to field goal
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
college and
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's
I don't
more
think
like
high school
asking a
either.
NASCAR driver to drive F1. That's what it feels like.
Sure, I don't know the difference of those two, but
But you'd
sure.
like to think they could. I mean, you're in the fucking NFL. Like you,
Avery, come
dude,
on.
that
It was a
kickoff.
great-
That kickoff was horrendous. Like that was.
Kicked it
I
out of
could do.
bounds.
I probably could have ran out there off
wasn't
the
that
couch.
bad.
He kicked it to the 30 or the 25, went out of bounds. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
shitty.
but it's still wet. It's still
They're
wet
two different
60
skill
yards.
sets. They're two completely different things.
They're
If
not
you-
completely different. That's a.
I mean,
that's
you
incredible
hit
thing
different
to
parts of your
say.
foot.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
you
different
use your
parts of your
foot for
foot.
both. That's the only thing that's
But
similar
different
between
parts of
them.
your
Yeah,
foot.
use your foot to kick a ball. Arguably, punting would be harder. So you'd think kicking a
No.
field goal would be easier. One stationary.
Well, you could
other's
punt.
moving.
Like, what would you do better at, like punting or kicking? Probably punting.
Punting.
Punting's
You could definitely
easier
kick
for sure.
like punt a ball further than
I
you
cannot
could kick
kick.
it.
Yeah.
I probably couldn't make a PAT. No way. But you could punt 30, 40 yards probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're a little
I
skinny
wouldn't punt
guy,
with
but
much control, but yeah, I
Yeah.
could punt. I guess I could from a
You could do
complete
it. You could do
amateur.
a 3-1, maybe punt time, hang time.
3-1.
Probably not with the rush coming at you. Then it'd be a lot harder to kick a PAT.
I'm just saying,
right.
like the thought of punting is easier than the thought of kicking a field goal. Like I get
From,
that.
yeah, but from Joe Schmo, this guy's got
Because
a
NFL,
beast
no,
of
I
a
get
leg.
it. No, I'm with
This guy's got a
you.
leg.
The guy should be able to at least kick the ball in bounds. On
What
a
I thought
kickoff.
was the most peak Steelers thing from the entire year is that they got a penalty, right, going for 2. They bring it back 10 yards.
And then they go
what does
for-
Ben do?
Throws
they
a
go
little
for it,
screen.
throws it to the flat for like literally 2 yards ahead.
Deontay.
It's like, hey,
Like
you
over his
need
head,
to,
too.
You either score or this play doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I
Like
thought
at
that was
least just
funny.
throw the end zone. Who cares if you throw a pick?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't even count for you.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, let's get to a little bit of waiver wire. I have listed a bunch of guys. I don't know if you guys prepared any
I got
that
a
you were
few.
thinking of, but I'll just throw these guys at you and give me what you think, like your priority on them, what you think of them moving forward. So I'll start with Jeremy McNichols. Obvious pickup, but what's the degree of confidence in him having he's obviously. I think the Titans want whoever the running back is, their number one running back is, to have the similar role to Henry.
Jeremy
Agree or
McNichols just
disagree?
doesn't fill that role. Like that's why they're like
No,
trying out
he's-
Adrian
right.
Peterson. I think they're probably going to bring
I've
somebody
heard,
in.
I heard AP as a rumor. I don't know how serious that
Yeah.
is, but
He's
Apparently he's going to get a workout.
They could trade for somebody too. The deadline's tomorrow.
I think
So,
tomorrow.
Yeah.
They might look for somebody,
Right.
maybe like a Ronald Jones.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So I do think that getting for people watching, if you're wanting to know what to do in this situation, I do think the scenario here is you do spend some fab, pick up McNichols, but this is just a classic situation of whoever's on their phone at the right time is going to find this guy that they're going to sign or trade, and maybe it's someone that is in a trade that you might have as a handcuff. But to me, this is a really tough to get right. In terms of us giving you advice on this, I think it's a crapshoot.
He's
I
JD
would-
McKissick, but worse.
I wouldn't
I know
break
you
the bank
can't
on him.
wait. Yeah, I would definitely not break the bank on him because they're probably going to sign. I think they would sign someone. The guy's 8 carries all season.
Yeah.
And he has some receptions.
He
but-
might just get more involved in the receiving game a little bit more.
Yeah,
But
they're going to bring.
I don't see him
I think they're
taking
bringing
anything.
a workhorse in because Derrick Henry was carrying the ball 30
think?
times a game.
Guys,
Give
who do
AP
they
the
bring
ball
in?
28
Tyson
times.
I
a game.
don't like when we do this. Tyson Williams, why wouldn't he be getting more work in Baltimore?
Because-
over Devontae Freeman and Le'Veon Bell.
Because
that's-
they're brain dead.
Okay.
He's a Harbaugh.
You wanted to. Okay.
Hater.
I just don't. I think you guys are a little bit off on this. There's no one coming in here unless it's a trade of if the Eagles years ago trading for the Jay Ajayi type player, didn't even get a real role with the Eagles that much. But if they trade for someone who is a starter, Ajayi was a starter at the time, then okay. But if they go trade for a backup, I don't think it's gonna be Tony
Melvin Gordon.
Pollard because I don't think the Eagles or the
Cowboys would give up
Cowboys
on
would want to give him up. Melvin Gordon, yeah. If they trade for Melvin Gordon, then that's where I would draw. I would say, yeah, Melvin Gordon would get the Derrick Henry role.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No one in the world
one's
has that
replacing that
role
guy,
besides
yeah.
him, pretty much. Like
No,
Derrick Henry.
But he's just
Gordon
saying who
would
would
get
it be.
that though. Gordon would get that.
He would
role.
get
Definitely
Sure.
not
25
not
carries.
25 carries though.
I think he would.
Think
Yeah,
so?
Yes, he would. That off. You think Ryan Tannehill? He needs that running back to take the ball 25 times for that play action. That a whole offense circulates around that, so they need that.
Gordon has also been good this year too. He's
Yeah,
an
he has.
interesting one, but I don't even know if there's any pulse
What
on
would
that
they
kind
get?
of move.
I don't think so.
But again, I do think it's less us being able to give you advice on McNichols. I would pick up McNichols. I'm fine spending 20% of your fab on him because, as far as we know right now, McNichols is the guy. Maybe I know Brian Hill is still on that depth chart, so maybe he's worth a look in a deep league because McNichols could be rostered if you're in some really deep leagues. Okay, moving on from that, Carlos Hyde.
I don't think it's going to be too serious of an injury for James Robinson.
They said he avoided serious injury
Yeah.
from what I saw.
Yeah, but even if he does
So let's say he
miss
misses
time,
2 weeks. Let's say
I'm not that high on. Like, sure, he's like a decent pickup for like a fill-in RB3.
Sandy, you want to get your phone off the
It's on the wall.
wall here?
Yeah, but like I don't see him having very high upside. Like I would rather have a lot of these other fill-in guys like Devin Booker, Alex Collins, guys like that. Like
Right.
they'll just be so much more valuable. But so like sure, if you can pick them up for maybe 5 fab or something,
Okay,
I wouldn't be that against it.
Right. I'm going to look at the Jags schedule here for the next few weeks, just to in case. So
the
they
Bills
have
and the Colts.
Bills and the Colts. So that would be tough sledding for Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
So I'm on the same page there. Anyone else have anything about
No.
that situation?
I'm with Jared on this.
Boston Scott. Kenny Gainwell got
I'm so
his
pissed
work
off
was
about
only
this.
at the end of the game when they were blowing them out. I don't think I hold much weight to Jordan Howard's touchdowns. Like maybe
He did get a lot of carries though.
maybe he remains involved to that degree. But I think Boston Scott is the best
He's the guy.
to
Yeah.
have.
He
And he's
might have been picked up
complete-
last week. He's 19% owned.
Is it 19%
Yeah.
now?
I'm
Wow.
surprised it's that low. I thought it would.
I think Sirianni's just a dumb fuck too. So I think it'll be like Kenny Gainwell week next week.
You're going
never
to pick
know.
up Scott,
yeah,
and then Gainwell's going to have like 10 receptions.
They're just
I
going to
could see
play.
that.
They're just going to hold hands and just
Let me
take
look
cares
at
together.
Eagles schedule.
They have the Chargers next week, and then they have
That's
the
why I
Broncos.
wanted to mention that, yes.
They have the Chargers next week, and then they're at the Broncos versus the Saints at the Giants.
Okay,
So
there's
the
two
Chargers. The Chargers did shore up their rushing defense very, very well this week.
because
Well, they are
a
holding
ton of
penalties. Yeah, there was two.
Damien
Damien Harris had
Harris,
2 huge runs.
he
called
could have had
back,
so many more
40 more
points.
yards of rushing
Yeah.
at least. too.
Right, guys, but why do they call holding penalties?
because it's holding. It's a
Do
penalty.
piece-
I'm just
but
saying.
penalty-
it
No,
doesn't
I'd
always
say
like
that's fair.
impact.
It could be a
his
backside
run.
guy that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, it could be, but usually it's someone that's part
What
of the
ifs?
play.
being
Yeah.
held that opens the hole. Correct.
But they got Justin Jones back, so they were better. I'm not saying the Chargers are now run stoppers by any means, so this is a good matchup for whoever it is. And Scott seems like the best option because he
Yeah,
does have
I
the
agree.
capability of kind of doing both pass and run game. What would you spend fab wise? Would you, if you had number one waiver priority, would it be Scott or McNichols? And would you spend it on?
Oh,
on
Scott
one?
for sure over McNichols.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I think
With
McNichols
the matchup this
opportunity-wise-
week, like I just think he's got too good of a
McNichols
matchup.
over Boston Scott.
I think
But
Boston
Boston
Scott's a
Scott
better
over
runner,
Carlos
but-
Hyde for me. In that order.
I think the opportunity for McNichols is just
Well,
better.
McNeil's gonna.
That's fair.
I think you get a week of McNichols. Well, I don't know unless they sign someone. But even like to your point, like they're not going to sign a guy and have him integrated right away. Like he's going to get his touches this week,
I think
especially.
McNichols would be. I would spend my first waiver priority on McNichols for sure. Just the way that, like, the offensive coordinator for the Titans, it was an internal hire after Smith left. They wanted to like that. They did that because they wanted the scheme to kind of be the same. So I think that they will still look to be a workhorse type role for somebody.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
McNichols is the best bet for it.
Yeah, I think McNichols is the better long-term play. Boston Scott's just the better play this week.
Yeah, because I don't know what they have Broncos then Saints. Like you do not want to play running back against
No.
the Saints, especially an Eagles running back against the Saints.
Yeah.
Okay, next one here. Tajay Sharp was the leading target getter. Well, tied with Kyle Pitts. Now with Ridley out, I do think Patterson will be more involved in the pass game, running more routes as a receiver. But where do you land on finding some value in the mud that is the Falcons?
I'd rather have Russell Gage.
Me too.
Like he's only 15% rostered right now.
Yeah, I think both of them are like Sharp is definitely available. Gage,
Yeah.
Gage was weird. He had no targets, no receptions.
After
They
a couple good weeks too.
Yeah, and he wasn't the clear route runner of the 3 wide receivers. It was pretty split between Zacchaeus, Sharp, and him. So I just thought Sharp would be a widely available, interesting
I
option.
thought that
too.
wide receiver room went from like one of the best with Julio and Ridley to just a jumble of trash.
Yeah. Okay, go
Move
to
on
a
to
couple
that,
tight
yeah.
ends.
I love this. I'm ready for this one.
Dan Arnold. The acquisition of Arnold for the Jags, he was the leading. I think he had 8 receptions, 58 yards. Is that right, Sandy?
8 receptions on 10 targets and 68 yards
68
yesterday.
yards.
Dan Arnold season. He's been
Yeah.
getting targeted more since he's been in Jacksonville.
I mean, he's been good the past 2 years.
But he wasn't
Yeah,
targeted
never,
like
never
that.
really that fantasy.
He was not
like,
targeted.
no,
Yeah.
right?
relevant.
He feels like a decent like buy fill-in or something like that. Like I don't know if I'd consider him like a weekly starter, but
Right,
if you needed help, maybe
if you
maybe
were,
lost somebody.
if you were drafting Adam Troutman, you probably
Yeah.
need to be picking up Dan.
yeah, if you've been streaming tight ends, I wouldn't mind him.
I think that he's like
Oh,
hold on to, right? Kind
No,
of guy.
I'd say
I would pick him up and then hold on to him.
Me too.
Yeah.
If I'm at the point where I'm streaming every week, he's a guy that I would just take on my team.
Like
So
Arnold or Uzama.
Uzama for me.
Arnold.
I think I'd go Zama.
Really? I
Right
would
now,
go Arnold
Uzama,
just
what did
because he's got a
Uzama do
better
yesterday?
nothing.
Nothing.
I think he had 3 catches, 33 yards, something like that.
That's all. I maybe saw
I had to
all
play him
3
one of my
then. Yeah.
leagues. I just think that Arnold is a better option than Uzama just because Uzama could find himself as like the 4th option.
There's more
And
mouths to
Arnold
feed.
almost seems like the number 1 option, which is crazy to say. But it's Marvin Jones is like more of the like outside deep play type receiver, which he's always been. He's
Yeah.
never been a
Yeah.
possession type receiver. So Arnold's kind of that possession type role that is a safety blanket for Lawrence.
You'd also like to see hold on to him because over the next few weeks, like how many games has he played with Trevor? 3 weeks now. He's been with Trevor
I
Lawrence for
think
3
so.
weeks
I
or
think
so.
so.
Like he could pick that chemistry up. You're seeing 10 targets against the Seahawks this week, and then he had another 8 2 weeks ago against the Titans. So
I mean, they went out and got him for a reason. So why wouldn't they?
Yeah, they say they went out and got
Yeah.
him. I might take back. I'm going to pull back and say I'm taking Dan Arnold over Uzama, but it's pretty close for me on that one.
Okay, staying at the tight end position, one more, and then you guys can throw any of the I'm missing. But Pat Fryermuth had another touchdown. This is a
That was an
really
incredible.
great
That was
play.
that's
Yeah.
an incredible catch.
Deontay Johnson was wide open on the other side of the field. I don't know if anyone saw that, but I was yelling at the TV because I had the
Yeah, you
Steelers
were.
spread.
Oh, you're laughing though.
yeah,
In
they
the
won. It
moment,
was good.
yeah,
It was,
yeah.
because they were down.
They were
at the
losing.
time.
Yeah.
What do you think of Fryermuth rest of the way?
I think I like Dan Arnold more than Fryermuth.
Yeah,
Me too.
I
for
like
sure.
Dan Arnold and Uzama more than Pat, but Pat's got the Bears, the Lions, the Chargers, and the Bengals the next 4 weeks.
Would you say it was Bears Lions?
First the Bears at home versus the Bears, at home against the Lions,
Okay.
and then the Chargers and the Bengals for Pat here.
Yeah, I think that he's too desperate of a play. I know that there's
Yeah.
reason for optimism just because of the injuries the Steelers have had and their passing volume's really high. But it's just like Najee Harris is way too involved as a receiver. There still is Eric Ebron in the offense that he's splitting with, so he's really desperate.
But a guy like Dan Arnold's ownership's way higher than Pat's. It's got to be, right?
oh yeah, Fryermuth
it's
is
got to be. Yeah,
very low. I would assume he's less than 5%.
And same with Uzama. Uzama's got to be. Do you think Uzama's higher than Dan Arnold percentage owned wise?
No.
Would you say?
He might be because he's had a couple big
higher,
weeks.
Dan
maybe,
Arnold
maybe
or,
because of that 2
Uzama?
touchdown or 3
Yeah.
touchdown, whatever he had.
It's around the same. Like Pat's in a different tier, right? So I would take those 2 guys over him.
Okay. Let me.
I
get
also want to bring up
sorry, I
one
forgot.
more player. This is more for Superflex leagues. Mike White. We don't really talk about the Jets quarterback room here.
Jets
but
are. Yeah.
This
Mike
is going
White-
to
I
turn out
didn't want to
be-
talk about the Jets forever because I didn't have that win total. It's not over until it's over, boys. 6.5.
He's already named the starter for next week.
Well, yeah, because Wilson's not.
he's not
Yeah,
coming
He's
back.
dating the starter over Joe
Joe
Flacco.
Flacco.
Yeah, I know. But
405
also,
yards.
there was Saleh was asked if Mike White could be the long-term answer, and he said anything's possible. Can you
I think-
imagine if Mike White takes over for Zach Wilson as the quarterback?
Mike White's
here?
got kind of a decent schedule too. I don't know if you're gonna be. It has to be super flex, but he's got.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
At the
Superflex
Colts,
only.
has to be super flex. At the Colts, the Bills, the tough one. Then there's the Dolphins and the Texans. So other than the Bills,
schedule.
it's a pretty good schedule.
There is this is so over on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
He
the
threw
fact that
for
he wrote it-
400 yards.
Sure.
I don't
but
care. I don't care at all.
This is the New York Jets. They're going to score 7 points
They
on
scored,
Thursday.
hey, they scored a first quarter touchdown.
the
Let's
Bengals
remember that.
defense and secondary was so overdue for some regression. It's not even funny. They basically brought in the same group of guys. They had maybe a couple additions in the front 4. Basically brought in the same defense, and somehow it was playing at like a incredibly high level.
They
And
got
it just fell apart.
Their
this
D-line
week.
got better, though. Sam Hubbard's good.
Yes.
Hendrickson, they brought in.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hendrickson.
that's what I mean. They made a couple changes up front, but otherwise, like the secondary's the same. But they lost. Was it William Jackson? Who was it? They lost in free agency. They brought in Awuzie, but they lost somebody. I'm forgetting in free agency.
Can't remember.
Yeah, I put absolutely no. Of course, in Superflex, he needs to be rostered. now.
Yeah, that obviously in one quarterback, do not take him.
I literally made a joke in the office on Wednesday morning because somebody picked up Mike White and I picked up Joe Flacco and I said, why on earth would you even bother picking up Mike White?
Shout out to Adam.
And then I dropped Joe Flacco because I needed someone to play this week.
Yeah.
That was a horrible look for me. Absolutely terrible. But I put no stock in it. But do you want your moment to talk a little Michael Carter before we?
He's maybe one of the best players in football now. I have him in 4 leagues, and I had him on the bench in 4 leagues.
Oh, you guys made a trade, right?
Yeah,
I started. I was a
I
proud
got a pick
Michael
and Shepard
Carter
for Michael
starter
Carter.
yesterday.
Sterling Shepard for Michael Carter
And a pick. I got a pick.
and a pick.
Yeah.
I like that a lot for you.
I
though.
need
A third.
Third and Michael Carter for Sterling Shepard. Michael Carter for a third and Sterling Shepard. I had Allen Robinson on my team, so I really needed some wide receiver.
And I find I'm trying to go
crap.
real young with my team, so Michael Carter fits the mold perfectly. It was awesome to see. I said last week it was my keep. I guess maybe it was like too obvious as a keep, but it was awesome to see him get a lot of receiving work. But then Ty Johnson just like took for drives. It would just be Ty Johnson, right?
Tevin Coleman's completely out. That's one interesting one for the Titans. Is he just like completely phased out? They started with him, and now he's just on the sidelines.
Michael Carter's numbers just keep going up every week, like in terms of snap
Is it
share.
over 10
So.
fantasy
I think he was my
points?
sleeper running back of the year too. I had Michael Carter, so it's nice for things to like work out, kind of.
Connection with Mike White is real.
When we were recording,
Mike White drives all the Jets players stock up. Jameson Crowder, big week yesterday. Mike White.
Elijah Moore is coming.
Yeah, Elijah Moore next. I
got
got to buy
some-
Elijah Moore
Not
for
coming.
nothing for a bag of chips.
yeah, exactly. Jameson Crowder is actually a great, like waiver wire wise. If he's still out there,
Jameson Crowder's
he's just great.
reception
He's just
machine.
such a good guy to
he
have.
doesn't
to
score,
plug
but
in.
he just catches. What do you have? 8 catches? I don't know the exact number. He had at least 7 catches yesterday.
I'm
I'll look
pretty
right
sure
now.
he must have had like 16 fantasy points on our platform. On
Yeah, he had
OwnersBox.
15. He had 9 targets, 8 receptions, 84 yards. He had a lost fumble still on our platform that will dock you 3, which is bullshit, kind of. But we'll have to talk. We'll have to talk about that one. Anyways,
I did say when we were recording that video about keep trade cut with Carter there in our first iteration of the recording.
Yeah.
He's been incredibly efficient, like in terms of yards after contact.
He's looked
been
good.
really good. So it was cool. It was good to see. I like.
He looks a lot like Maurice Jones-Drew too. With that number 32.
except Maurice Drew's legs were like 3 times the size. Like a bowling ball.
Carter is a little smaller.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little buy low, sell high before we talk Monday Night Football and wrap things up. Let's start with a sell high, and then we'll go buy low. Oh, I really wrote this down wrong on my thing here. I wrote two guys to sell instead of one guy to buy.
I'd probably sell Michael Carter at this point.
Right after he
Sean,
talks him up.
I like it.
In redraft, yeah, like Dynasty, I'm buying him because I think he's a very good running back. But after a week like that, the Jets' offense stinks. And I think that's the reason I'm doing it, not because Michael Carter's a bad football
You
player.
just never know what you're going to get from them.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the issue. That's why I'd be selling Michael Carter.
The only reason I wouldn't is because I think he's going to be so involved in the passing game from here on out. And that alone is just such a safe enough floor.
But if you
PPR
can
leagues.
talk to someone like me in your league who's really high on Michael Carter, I think there's a deal you can get done.
If you can get like some higher end guy, like I don't know, like I'm probably
Would
thinking
people
way too
swap
high.
Javante for Michael Carter? at
I
this
would rather
point?
have Michael Carter
Than
think.
Javonte, yeah, for sure.
What about you'd rather have Michael Carter than Javante?
Yeah.
For redraft this
So
year, yeah.
what about Sterling Shepard?
Oh, 100% Michael Carter over Sterling Shepard.
See, I think you're getting a little lost in the fact that the Jets had some injury issues at receiver. Like Corey Davis is usually their number one guy.
Yeah,
He
so-
was out. I don't think that Michael Carter sees this kind of volume in receptions and in targets.
The other thing is Sterling Shepard injury issues too, though. Like how many
Yeah,
games
yeah.
he missed now? It's like
I think
4
if you're
games already
trading
this year.
Carter, you're probably trying to get a receiver because running back wise,
There's
I
not-
don't know
yeah.
how much you can really get, like turn him into in terms of like a good, valuable running back
Upgrade.
upgrade. Yeah. What you feel is
Like
an
if you could
upgrade.
get like a Chris Godwin or a Mike Evans for him, then yeah, I'd take that. But nobody's
Jesus.
going to give up that much.
Yeah,
for-
no,
like
no,
you-
no one's
Yeah,
giving
no,
that up.
yeah, no shit.
Like what are you thinking
Chris
is a good
Godwin's
sell
at
high
30
then?
points.
You asked me for a sell high, and I didn't.
Yeah,
look
what's a
into
good trade target?
You go like T. Higgins.
Honestly, I think I'd rather have Michael Carter at this point.
Then T.
Jared,
no
you-
way.
See, that's the guy you need to
this
trade.
This is the guy to trade with right here. If you take something you saw for 1
I am
week
taking Mike-
and you're
or
just off
selling
the
the-
fucking
It's not
rock,
even just
you're
one
wrong
room.
with
If you're
it.
buying Michael Carter for me and you have T.
No,
Higgins, I'm
Michael
doing it right
Carter's
now.
been like he's been fine, but he hasn't really been a reliable.
Who is Michael Carter in our redraft league? Let's see.
You're about to go
To
shop.
go make
I-
a trade. Like his past 4 weeks, he had 10.4, 14.8, 15.4, then 32. Like it's not like he just had one blow up week.
No.
He's been getting more
touchdown.
involved every
Yeah.
week.
He's been good, but he's still like for some reason Ty Johnson's getting involved. The Jets have had some injuries at receiver. I can't trust the quarterback play. Like I just can't trust any. I don't really want to have anyone.
Sandy,
on
you
the
have
team.
Michael Carter right now in the redraft league.
And I'm loving it.
I
I
have T.
started-
Higgins.
I
I will
started
make that
this
trade
week.
for you right now on air. Michael Carter for T. Higgins.
All right. Send it to me.
All right.
I'm going to accept it after the show, but I'm going to accept it. I'm going
I
to accept it.
don't know why.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jared, get to your sell high.
My sell high. Okay.
It's so convenient. I literally said if you have him, I didn't realize you had him in this league. We both have him. Classic.
Okay, I'm going to be selling Mark Andrews.
Sorry, I have a story. I traded Michael Carter for 20 fab from a guy in a league 3 weeks ago, by the way.
You got Michael Carter?
20
I got
fab.
Michael
Nice.
Carter for 20 fab in a 200 fab
Love
league.
that. Yeah, I'm going to be selling Mark Andrews. If you look at his past career, like his numbers, he's like a very inconsistent player. He has these long stretches of great games, and then he'll also have like stretches of kind of shitty games. Back in 2019, the first 7 weeks before the bye, 5.2 receptions per game. The 9 weeks after the bye, 3.5 receptions per game. Then last year, his first 8 games, 3.2 receptions. Last 6 games, 5.3 receptions per game. So far this season, he's averaging 5.7, and I don't know. It's just going off the numbers that we've seen in the past, but I could see that going back down to the 3 or maybe 4 receptions per game average, especially with Rashad Bateman coming back. I think he's going to continue to take a bigger role. So I think Mark Andrews won't see those numbers we've been seeing the past few weeks, and it's just going to go back down to his average.
Okay, before I get a little bit bothered by it, who are you trying to get for him?
At the tight end position, I would trade Darren Waller. Like if I can get Darren Waller right now, buy him low while selling Mark Andrews high.
Right.
I'd do that.
Okay. I think it's time. I hate saying this, but I think it's time to understand and realize, because we're halfway through the season now. The Ravens are just throwing the ball more.
Yeah,
like they've done it all year long. Andrews' routes are up. His target, like his routes are up, which means his targets are up, which means his yards are up, which means his touchdowns are going up. Like I think this is more of a. We need to realize that the Ravens just aren't completely run heavy right now, and a lot of it can probably have to do with the fact that their running back room is atrocious. But I just think that I hate it, but I hate that I have to. I don't hate the pick. I hate that I have to understand and realize and say to myself, Marquise Brown actually might just be good this
Marquise
year,
Brown is
right?
good.
And Mark Andrews
You
might
can't do that
actually be a top
exception,
3
though.
option. So that's my biggest takeaway from that. But I do get it. Like I do think that you saw some inconsistency earlier in the year, but I think he was just really snake bitten early on, and now he's kind of getting back what he kind of deserved from the early parts of the season. Anybody else on Andrews really?
I'm probably not selling him high at this point.
He is also like a top 3 guy. So if it's Waller, then okay.
Exactly. The issue is, who are you getting that's going to be better than him? And
I think Waller's going to have a better second half season.
That's the problem. The problem would be that you would never trade Mark Andrews for like a wide receiver or running back, unless you were in a really good spot.
Yeah, if you had multiple tight
I don't even
ends.
know who you would have to have, but that would be the only way to trade him for someone that isn't a tight end. I'm going to throw 2 guys. One of them was because in one of the leagues I'm in, we have a group chat, and one of the guys was trying to hype up Khalil Herbert and say, what kind of role is David Montgomery even going to have when he comes back? And I just want the brakes to be pumped on that. Herbert's looked really good, but I think people are forgetting how good David Montgomery is, or David Montgomery was before he got hurt and at the end of last season. Like he's an elite fantasy producer, and I think when he comes back, he will just take his role back, and Khalil Herbert will be spending a lot of time on the sidelines. So if you could somehow turn him into any running back that has a role and is starting right now, I would do it. Like if it's, and you'd be buying high, but even if it was Michael Carter, even if it was, let me just think of another team here while I'm looking. Like if it was of course, if it was a Cordell Patterson, even if it was a Myles Gaskin, I would probably be open to that, because I just think that Herbert's time is running out right now. The second one's Robert Woods, 2 touchdowns, but he did it with only 3 catches.
Yeah.
So I just think if you can turn him into something that can be more beneficial, because he's just been a tough guy, like a tough pick that we really like this year that just hasn't worked out. So I think if you can take advantage of this game he had in terms of touchdowns, because he only had 36 yards. He had a rushing score and a receiving score. So if you can turn him into something, I would be.
His usage just
looking to
isn't
do that.
enough to be.
Van Jefferson
what the
catching
points are.
deep posts like every week now too. Like
He got hurt though. Did he end up coming back
I
in the
don't
game?
know. I saw that
I
deep
don't
post
think
was
so, yeah.
I didn't, well, they
So
were
even
winning
if it's
convincingly.
like, to me, I'm thinking, maybe if it's Antonio Brown. Like I feel like I like Antonio Brown more than Robert Woods.
They've been on the same performance kind of too. And then AB's like huge week that 1 week. but
Yeah, if I could
average
capitalize
wise.
on Terry McLaurin's down week, I think that'd be my favorite one. But yeah, those are just a couple options.
I think also going back to the Khalil Herbert point, David Montgomery is a good buy low.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I
yeah.
mentioned it last
both
week.
the exact
When's he
same thing.
expected back?
I think
Probably after the bye.
Yeah.
After the bye. When's their bye? This
Like week 10?
Week 10. Okay, so 2 more
I
weeks.
isn't this their bye?
Oh, is it?
I believe.
It might be.
I got a
I think it is
notification
their
this
bye.
morning.
Maybe
that they-
week 10's when he comes back.
Yeah. Is it their bye?
No, week 10's the bye.
Oh, okay.
So they
have a
they play
week.
the Steelers this week.
Oh, right.
And then
We just brought that up. Okay, Sandy, do you have one?
No, I do not have one.
Sell high? No.
No.
Okay. Avery,
Buy
do you have a
low.
buy low?
Jared Judy.
Really?
Well, you can. I said get rid of Tim Patrick last week. Jared Judy's a very good football player.
I'm just nervous about the high ankle sprain.
You can't
It
watch
lingers.
Okay. You can't watch this guy play football and like tell me that you don't want him, acquire him at a buy low price. I think it's just too easy at this point. There's no stats for me to say he's played one game, right? He played half
I
of
just
football.
think they're just him and Cortland Sutton are just gonna consume each other, and it's just not gonna be good for
Tim
anyone.
Patrick
I
and
like it in
Cortland Sutton
Dynasty.
have
I like that in
Fant
Dynasty.
included.
I didn't say what league this was in.
Sutton
right?
only had 2
Yeah,
grabs
exactly.
this week too. What did Judy do this week? I saw he had a catch on the sideline.
Yeah, I
I
don't
didn't
think
watch
he
that
had a
game
couple
much.
catches.
Yeah, nothing to write
Just
home
until
about.
they get a much better quarterback. Then maybe if they get Aaron Rodgers in there, then
You gotta keep
I mean,
up
he
on
had
that
8
narrative.
points,
yeah,
7.9.
4 catches, 39 yards. Like I think they're gonna get a new quarterback, whether it's
I mean, he's limited with Teddy Bridgewater's abilities.
yeah, exactly.
still.
There's too many guys there for any of them to just have like a great year. I think, which is kind of sad because I think they have great weapons. Just the quarterback isn't good enough to elevate them. So I don't know.
I think Judy's a really skilled player. He showed
Yeah.
it before he got hurt, but I don't want to touch the Broncos pass catchers. I'm
I
now
just looked at an
a
article.
Bull
seem
fan.
to have all of them.
I don't have any, so I feel good about that.
I have Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback in Superflex. I hate it.
Jared, who do you got?
Oh, my buy low is Javonte Williams, like pretty much strictly because of the schedule, and I think he's going to slowly eat a little bit more from Melvin Gordon. Like I know Melvin Gordon looks really good, but Javonte Williams just looks even better. So I don't think it's going to be something that stays exactly the same all year. And the schedule, like after the bye week especially, they got the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Bengals, the Raiders, the Chargers again. Like that's
And
just
then the Chiefs.
that's after fantasy's over.
True. But still.
But like just such a beautiful
I think
schedule.
Your
you need,
fantasy
I think you
schedule
need to
down.
be liquid here and be willing
Yeah.
to change your mind on this because what
touchdown
indication is
vulture,
there
yeah.
that Melvin Gordon is going to give up his role?
Oh, he's not going to give up his role, but
when
I
he gets
think
traded.
it
tomorrow.
could
Yeah,
it
he
could
gets traded
slowly
tomorrow.
it could slowly go more and more, kind of like what we saw with.
Do you think Melvin
Akers.
Gordon
I
to
know,
the
we
Titans
wanted it,
would
but-
warrant a first round pick coming back? They don't do that in football.
No.
So
A
he'd be like,
fifth.
that's crazy. How?
Fifth.
You can get some insane player values for just such cheap picks.
I remember when
Do
the
you,
Chargers.
but do you think it should have, like, in the NFL, it should be like a first for a guy like that when you need them that bad?
Yeah, but
to,
the
like-
problem is that NFL first 3-round picks are basically already starters once they
Yeah.
get drafted.
That's why they're so valuable.
I remember the Chargers. Desmond King had was a Pro Bowler in 2018. No, in 2019, and then last year they traded him for a 7th to the Titans. Like,
I've been seeing like hypotheticals on Twitter. It's like Odell Beckham for a 4th.
yeah, exactly.
Why?
No, you see the
Football's so
Packers. There was
crazy
one
that
of the
way.
Packers that it was like Mercedes Lewis for Odell Beckham. I'm like, dude, some people were making. Someone literally made a graphic of
Mercedes
like,
Lewis.
yeah, no, it was like Mercedes Lewis and like a 5th round pick for
Can you
Odell.
imagine Odell goes to the Packers?
No, that'd be a disaster. The locker room just would be a mess. We don't need more drama in Green Bay, that's for sure.
Boys, my favorite buy low right now is I was so happy to see this game that he had because I don't have him anywhere, but I want to get him, is Jalen Waddle. He had 12 targets. He's had 33 targets in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
He only had
Tua
7
loves
fantasy
him.
points. Tua just loves him. I think he's right around the top 24 right now on the season. So if I have T. Higgins, I would love to turn him into Jalen Waddle. If I could think of some other guys here, as I'm looking at different players.
Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith. Get that motherfucker off my team.
Oh my God, I'm fucking furious about that guy. Watching him, I had him in OwnersBox 3 weeks in a row. Terrible. He had 2 points this week.
Yeah.
2 whole points.
40 points. He didn't do anything.
What
But,
about Mike Williams at this point? Where's he at?
I think the Chargers are just in a bad spot. They have a really good schedule coming up. So I know you're terrified. I've kind of felt like this was going to be coming at some point. Just their offense was like off the charts, unbelievable. The targets were way down. The Chargers' offense was terrible this week, but I just don't think it lasts. But so I wouldn't do anything with Williams at this point. It's been too bad for couple weeks now to be able to do anything.
My buy low. I gotta go quick.
you got one?
I have a call. Yeah, I have a call. Actually, I have to dip. But DJ Moore, I'm buying low on. You guys might hate this. Sam Darnold is a cancer, but DJ Moore had over 20 fantasy points in 3 of his 4 first games, and then since then he's only gone over 10 in his last 4 games, or once in his last 4 games. So he's a guy I like to buy. He's getting the targets. 13 targets 2 weeks ago, 10 targets a week ago, and 8 targets this week. I think those are.
He also had a touchdown that
it was called back.
Yeah, he dropped.
How many catches does he have? What's his catch percentage on those targets the last 3 weeks?
Not
terrible.
great.
They dropped
he was 50%,
90% of passes against the
He had a
Vikings.
Darnold has just fallen off.
Yeah, and he had against the Vikings, he had 13 targets, only 5
Sam Darnold
receptions.
got jacked
Not great.
up on that one hit too.
Yeah.
I thought he was dead.
Fellas, I got a piece. It was a pleasure.
All right.
Take it home for us, all right, guys?
Yeah, I'll do a great job with that. Thanks, Sandy.
I wonder how much of Sam Darnold's struggles have to do with Christian McCaffrey not being in there, though. Like, once Christian McCaffrey comes back, will he not fully return to what we saw in the first few weeks, but at least somewhat return?
I do think that it will definitely help, but I do think it's alarming because this is certainly a better offense than the one he was in previously.
Yeah.
He's starting to kind of regress back to the guy he was in New York.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wrap up with Monday Night Football prediction. Hopefully this gets out before. Yeah, this will get out. This will get out to the people before Monday.
Chiefs better win.
Chiefs are 10.5 point favorites. Over unders 52.5. Do we have a prediction, a bet, a prop? Give me anything.
Is it
on
in
this game.
New York or is it
this
in
game is in
Kansas City?
Kansas City?
Chiefs 35, Giants 21.
I think the Giants cover. I'm gonna go Chiefs 28, Giants 24.
I think the back door will be open in this game. So I'm going to say Chiefs 31, Giants 14. They don't actually get through the back door. It's open, but they don't get there.
This could be the end of the season for Kansas City.
Could be.
I'm
If
right.
they lose again,
Yeah, I think it's over.
I mean, no, it wouldn't. They'd be 3-5. They'd have tons to work with here. They'd be just fine.
No,
do you think if they lose, people will start calling for Andy Reid's head?
no. Andy
no.
Reid's not thrown.
Just like Kyle Shanahan never seems to get any questions about his job, and neither will Andy
oh,
Reid.
Kyle Shanahan is an idiot.
Well, he just keeps losing. Like, I know they won this week, but he keeps losing, and nobody's ever discussed his job.
Yeah. I mean, he is overhyped at this point. Like, everyone loves his offensive abilities.
My favorite prop is Devontae Booker under 51.5 rushing yards.
Don't say that.
In the 3,
I need him to score 20 fantasy
Devontae
points.
Booker. I thought you were going with Darrell Williams.
I might go with the fun. I might go just mix
Well,
it up.
let me help you. Let me help you. So in the 3 games the Chiefs have won, the Browns obviously ran. They didn't run that wild on him. Actually, I looked back on it. Chubb only ran for like 88 yards. But the leading running back in the other 2 games they've won, the most recent 2 games they've won, have gone under this number by a decent amount.
Who were the running backs in those games?
Antonio Gibson and
Did they play last week?
I know what the answer is. I just don't know if I want to say it because then maybe you might just be like, oh, that guy sucks anyways. Miles Sanders.
Sanders.
But Devontae Booker is probably worse than Miles Sanders. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely is.
I like the under because I think the Chiefs are going to steamroll this Giants team, and then they won't really be able to have any reason to run the ball. That's my biggest thing on
The
it.
Chiefs that they have to play the Packers next week too. The worst schedule in football.
Yeah. So what happens when you're good,
Yep.
which just doesn't make any. It's just so on. I've said this before. I just hate that for some reason we give tougher schedules to a team just because they were good.
Yeah.
And easier ones to.
I
a
think
team
the main
because they
reason
were
for
bad.
it is because they want to have more people watch games. And if
Yeah,
there's 2 good teams
competitiveness.
playing each other, then more people will watch.
Yeah. It's all about money.
Yep.
League's about money, fellas.
Yep.
That's what it is. All right. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're listening on Apple or Spotify or anywhere you get your podcasts. Give us a review, give us a rating. We'd appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next time.